With their I-PACE, Jaguar became the first of the premium brand manufacturers to make a long-range, practical, battery-powered electric vehicle. If you can afford the asking price, you might well have everything you could want here. A claimed near 300-mile WLTP driving range, 400 PS, potentially zero emissions, and a car that might be as comfortable with high-performance driving as it is on a muddy track. But would you want one? Perhaps a better question is, why wouldn't you want one? Technology people can create an electric car, but only car people can make one like the I-PACE.
Most electric vehicles storm away from rest like a scolded cat, but corner with all the agility of a Channel ferry. Thanks to perfect 50-50 weight distribution, a low centre of gravity and an overriding emphasis on driver feedback, this one's different, with tight body control and impressive reserves of traction, aided by the way that the powertrain can shift torque instantly to whichever wheel that needs it. Ah yes, the powertrain. It uses a 90 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery containing 432 pouch cells situated between front and rear wheels, powering two synchronous permanent magnet electric motors, one at each axle so as to provide permanent four-wheel drive. There's a single 400 PS power output specification, and the transmission is a single-speed epicyclic unit. Like direct competitors from Mercedes and Audi, this Jaguar offers various driving modes. In this case, comfort, dynamic and efficiency-orientated eco. But unlike those competitors, the Coventry company hasn't standardised air suspension on its electrically powered luxury SUV. You'll need to specify that as an option if you've specified large wheels and want to match the serene ride of competitor models over poor urban surfaces. Air-sprung damping's worth having for other reasons too. It'll automatically lower the ride height at higher speeds, or you can position it at a higher setting for off-road use. Rather surprisingly, this I-PACE is actually quite capable off-road, aided by a standard all-surface progress control system, a kind of low-speed cruise control for when you're inching along over muddy tracks. Back on tarmac, 60 from rest can occupy as little as 4.5 seconds, though if you drive like that, the quoted 292-mile WLTP cycle driving range figure will be depleted pretty quickly. Which is significant because even if you've got a wall box fitted in your garage, this Jaguar will still need 12.9 hours to replenish itself completely from an empty charge. If when out and about you're fortunate enough to find a 50 kilowatt public charger, up to 168 miles of driving range can be gained in 60 minutes. With a full battery, it's best to think in terms of 230 to 240 miles as a more realistic figure, which is 10 to 15% more than you get from most obvious rivals. Mind you, you'll only get that if you master this car's brake regeneration system. Set to maximum, this slows the car so dramatically when you come off the throttle that you hardly ever have to use the brake pedal, except when you need to come to a complete stop. It isn't only the powertrain of this I-PACE that changes everything you know about Jaguar. The styling too is a radical departure from the brand's established values, as you'd expect it would be. After all, given that there's simply no need here to make space for a whole hunk of metal in the nose, there's also no need for the kind of long bonnet, short boot proportions that until now have characterised virtually every successful Jaguar model in history. It's also a shape that's dimensionally difficult to get your head round. You expect an SUV with this kind of luxury and this kind of price tag to be BMW X5 or Porsche Cayenne sized. Well, this one isn't, yet kind of is. Its roadway footprint is actually 50mm shorter than that of a Jaguar F-PACE in the next class down. Yet the I-PACE has a wheelbase 116mm longer than its showroom stablemate, so as to free up the kind of interior space common from the next class up. OK, so let's take a seat inside. You sit high up, 150mm higher than in an E-PACE, for instance, because of all those batteries beneath the floor. But of course that's what you want in a large SUV. It's an interestingly designed classy, high-tech cabin, though you might find fault with some of the trimming features if you've bought in at the upper end of the iPace lineup. Perhaps inevitably, given the current luxury trend and the fact that this is an EV, there are lots of screens. A configurable 12.3-inch TFT display for the instrument cluster, and for the centre of the dash, the usual JLR Touch Pro Duo setup. This gives you a 10-inch upper screen for all the infotainment functions, navigation, music, telephone, smartphone mirroring, and so on. And a 5-inch lower screen that deals with all the climate controls and incorporates a couple of rotary dials that can be yanked or prodded to control fan speed or heat levels. The seats are smart and supportive, and there's plenty of interior storage space. Time to take a seat in the rear. As we suggested earlier, there's far more legroom than the external dimensions lead you to expect, 890mm of it to be exact. Headspace is generous too. There's 968mm of it, even with this huge glass panoramic roof fitted. Incidentally, this absorbs UV light, so there's no need for a blind. We'll finish with a look at cargo space. There's a compartment under the bonnet, but since that's only 27 litres in size, we'll ignore it and focus on the boot area. Avoid entry-level trim and you get this powered tailgate, which rises to reveal a luggage bay with a modest dry item capacity that Jaguar quotes at 505 litres. Fold down the rear bench, which unfortunately is only available in this 60-40 split form, and 1,163 litres of dry item capacity is freed up. Here then is the standard that all current electric cars must aspire to. As with any EV, to own an iPace, you'll need to plan your life in a way you simply wouldn't need to with a combustion engine car. But if you can do that, it can deliver the kind of ownership experience you might never have expected an all-electric model would be able to provide. It's different. Of course it is. All cars in the future will be. But this one brings an authenticity to the EV revolution that makes you look at all our automotive futures with a bit more hope. We like it for that. We think you will too.